is this just fantasy, or is this The Hunger and the Dusk issue 5? It's that one, obviously, because you can see. So I've been enjoying this series. I continue to, and as of right now, it's I think the we're still waiting on the next issue. I think it's gonna come out in the summer of this year. But for right now, let's talk about the latest issue. So last we saw, there was tension in the orc ranks about helping the humans against the Vangol, the tall, lanky enemy. And there's also tension in the human group because one of their friends, the scout who was following the Vangol they let go, is missing, and as we know, has been captured. And so it's a hot summer here. Everything's dry, and where there once was kind of a closeness here, there is a little tension building. Or potentially like romantic tryst here, and yeah, it's all great. I think character stuff, and I think so far G. Willow Wilson's just crafted such an interesting world that I'm with it. I'm here to follow it, and yeah, also everybody's got an interesting weapon. But then, where they've been tracking him, he's being held underground by this leader Van Gogh. Who, look at that? I mean, I don't know, just a really cool design overall. The Van Gogh itself are just kind of terrifying, and yeah, they got this crazy kind of blocky weapon. I'm sure it's got a name. It's sort of a sword, but not really. And it just looks like it's for crushing bones and skulls and stuff. But yeah, he's not doing well. And then I love that this next page is done all upside down, for like from like this guy's perspective. Yeah, and this guy's just a creep and a son of a bitch, and it's basically they are setting a trap with him because they're aware that humans are loyal to each other essentially, and so they set fire to the fields to drive our heroes in a specific place. And I think that's pretty cool, pretty strategic of them. I mean, I don't like that they're doing it, of course, but I think it's just a neat strategic move. Look at the coloring here on this metal. It looks, I don't know. Yeah, there's something, it's like slightly tarnished, but not incredibly so. And yet it reads like metal. There's an interesting color hold here, too. I didn't really notice that on first blush. But yeah. And yeah, I love the fallen mega structures. It's always a nice little touch to a fantasy story. And of course, interesting mounts. They're little horned fellas that they ride. And yeah, they feel like they are being watched and they are being led into a trap. And what I think is fascinating is that she's aware of it, and she's also very much like, she's just, I don't know, she's definitely the odd member out, and we're kind of come to a point where she basically is advising them to leave this guy behind because it's a trap and you're gonna like lose all your men to just save this one guy. And that's definitely not what orcs would do, but it's what humans would do. And it's that kind of, yeah, that splitting of their views is what really kind of drives them apart at this point. But yeah, it's a lovely journey along the way. Of course, I love throwing in these little things, these little guys here. Yeah, it's all great stuff, and I just get on board, everybody. This is some good stuff, and yeah, and then they find their friend, and they see some, I guess, dry beached ships. I don't know. But they decide that they're going to try to go rescue him. And it's clear as day that it's a trap. But they're going to do it anyway. And she's like, just leave him behind. And then yeah, they come out of their ships and attack. And they go into fight. And it's at this point I don't really know what else to say except I really enjoy this comic and I want more people to give it a shot and enjoy it. And it's definitely on my list of like recommended books. And yeah, it's definitely, and just don't know what you're waiting on. Yeah, great fight. Just great sense of geography, great fight scenes and stuff like that. But also, like, just a couple of these guys is frankly enough to feel super imposing to to even a large group of men. Great stuff, folks. But then I don't know, the coolest move here. So the leader shows up, and he's trying to intimidate them with his words, and what she does is really incredible. She basically uses, so she's a healer, right? But she like manipulates energies, and essentially she siphons energy out of him and kills him. And I think that's a awesome move, and it's super neat to like see that she like goes this extra mile to protect him, but it's also like it goes against what she wants because she doesn't want to, she wants to heal, not kill people, and protect people, and the fact that she has to do this to save his life, or at least she feels to save his life, it is really it says a lot about her, how she feels about him, but also the fact that she's put into that position sucks. It's again good, great character stuff. And he's like, "We succeeded. That was amazing." And she's like, "How could you like put me in that position?" Yeah, it's just fun like character interplay, and I'm happy to see that things are so character focused in this book. Because I think that a lot of times fantasy can get overly plot driven, or you're focused way more on the trappings of it or everything around it, and you're not focused on, and the characters are just kind of cutouts that are used to get through the plot or to get to the lore or the whatever. And I mean, to some extent, that's even a lot of times what Conan is used for. He's kind of a cipher who you can just throw into a plot that's happening, and it's through him that we learn the intricacies of the plot. And that's basically the format of most Conan stories. And not to say that it's bad, because that's just another way to do things, but I want some variety, and this Hunger in the Dusk is really hitting that variety for me. Yeah, and it's just, I love that we get like pages of an argument, of a disagreement, and I also really like that the I don't know, the art remains consistently interesting, and like I love that he's shifting camera angles and making it dynamic, making it like the fight starts here and then moves to the tent, and then they're in the tent, and she's like packing and stuff, and then she insults the shit out of him, and we get a moment of silence, and like, and yeah, our story here ends on them, on her leaving. And I think that it's fascinating that, yeah, that's where we leave it, is that she's giving up on the alliance between humans and orcs, and they were kind of the linchpin of it, and he blames himself, and she feels bad because of things she said, but she's still leaving. And yeah, I think that's a great thing to kind of leave us on. for the next issue. So yeah, more of this, please, folks. I want stuff that's more that has so much to do with character and with just like exploring an interesting world through interesting characters. More of this, please, because it's just it's joyful. It's exciting and it's interesting, and this is why I like fantasy, is stuff like this. And yeah, and I also, and people like Chris Wildgoose, I love seeing his work. So yeah, Hunger in the Dusk #5. If you're not reading this, I mean, why not? Go find it. I'm sure. I think the first trade is, if it's not out, it's going to be out soon. But you might still be able to find some floppies out there, or digitally purchase it, or what have you. I think you can probably get it on Global Comics. And you know what else you can get on Global Comics? Is my comics, including Sidequesters and Haxan, both fantasy comics. This is like an anthology of witchcraft stories, and it takes place in this universe where we have a lot of interaction, a lot of character-driven storytelling, because I love reading it. That's the kind of story I created. And so, yeah, we have the same kind of exploring a world through hopefully interesting characters. And you can find this on Global Comics. You can also buy your own copy of this trade. And you can also, if you like comics in general, check out 3-Panel Origin. Character origins told in 3 panels, and they're kind of silly and awkward, and short stories involving those silly characters. Kind of like The Tick. That's what I always tell people. No fuss, no muss. Just Hunger and the Dusk.